we can start. All right. Well, welcome to another Run Wild with us, and you can ask us whatever you want. I'm Lisa Kastner. I'm the founder of Running Wild LLC. We now have 4 imprints, and I am here with 2 of our absolutely fantastic editors, Barbara Lockwood and Cecilia Kennedy. And I fully anticipate we will have a few more join us just maybe a couple minutes late. So what I like to do is, you guys, if you are watching this live or if you are watching it, you're watching the recording, go ahead, put your questions in the comment section, and we, if you put them in after the actual live stream, it's not a big deal because we'll just go ahead and we'll check it out afterwards, and we'll address it in the subsequent session. If you are watching it and you have any questions or comments, please feel free to go ahead and pop them again into the comments section. I will repeat those questions, and then everyone will take an opportunity to address them. So with that, I would love to hear. So Cecilia, Barbara, how's your week been? Is there anything that you want to chat about?
My computer crashed this week, but
Oh no.
I have a really good computer guy who saved it. So,
Oh, that's great.
but I keep most of my files offline or off the computer because I don't trust it.
Got it.
And I would suggest that for any of the writers, be sure that you have a backup that's not on your computer, so you don't ever lose your work.
Makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Peter.
Hello. How is
Just-
everybody?
Good. Just checking in with everyone to find out if there's anything anyone wants to chat about. So Barbara was letting us know that her laptop crashed earlier this week. So she got it fixed. But
I'm old school. I have a desktop.
See, there you go.
Yeah.
How about you, Cecilia? How's your week been?
I joined the Editorial Freelancers Association, and I have been working with other editors. Somehow I got roped into volunteering for the Pacific Northwest chapter, so I'll be a chapter coordinator, and we'll be hosting. We'll be asking, for speakers and those kinds of things in the Pacific Northwest, and just kind of collaborating with one another and doing coffee chats and that kind of thing. But also, I'm going to be going to the Independent Book Publishers Association convention in Portland in May. So May 14th through the 16th. And I'm super excited about that. I'm just going to the Friday one. The judges get to go for free. I judge the humor category for the books, and it was really fun. I totally want to do that again. It was super fun. And I'll get to see the finalists. Well, I don't know if they'll be there at the dinner, but I'm hoping they are, that I get to meet the finalists, because when you read these books, you want to meet the authors. So yeah, I'd love to meet the finalists that make it. And yeah, it should be a good time. It's been a while since I've been to a conference.
Wow, that's fabulous. That is absolutely fabulous. Definitely let us know if you have a chance to meet the authors. It really is fun when you get
and
a
if there's
chance to do that.
anything, if there's anything you want me to bring about Running Wild Press, send it to me. I mean, we're going by car. We're just going to drive, so I can bring things with me if I need to. Like, I don't know what, like QR codes or cards or something, I don't know, to give to people or pass out. So yeah, if you have something, send it. I'll take it.
I'll ping you after this to get a mailing address, because I can ship postcards with QR codes on them.
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
Awesome.
I'll just throw them around the conference. I'll just pass them out. like candy.
There you go. That sounds fabulous.
Yeah.
So how about you, Peter? How was your week? Anything you want us to like chat about or bring up?
The first and biggest thing on my mind is I'm glad Ben's finally here. Is I picked up a book he had read, and I could only get about 2 or 3 pages into it before I'm like, I don't want to read this book.
Oh my.
And it wasn't the writing. The writing was very good. The writing was almost too good. I couldn't
Mhm.
get. I mean, I don't know how Ben edited No Fucks Given. I mean, I couldn't have done that. That's some brutal stuff in that story. And I only got 3 pages into it, and I'm like, my mind exploded on how people treat other people. I was talking about it with Kathy tonight. I'm like, it just completely baffles me that things like that happen and still happen. So.
Mm.
Yeah, I was curious. I'm glad Ben's here. I mean, how did you edit that? How did you separate yourself from it?
Yeah, I think it helped to know the author personally,
No, that makes sense.
and
I thought he was a good guy. I liked him.
yeah, and and you know like I mentioned before, when I first joined the Army, I was trained by a bunch of Vietnam veterans, and
Oh, wow.
they had stories to tell.
Wow.
And some it was borderline that can't be real, and they're saying yeah, it was real, and so that probably helped, but mainly just knowing Tim and knowing his perspective of, I don't want to say cynical, but definitely tainted and changed from the Tim before and the Tim after. Of course, I met him after. But, so it was, and a lot of times I just look for his writing because I know he's got that accelerated plane. When he gets on it, it can't be beat. You can't have the whole book like that. It'd be a roller coaster, always coming down. Whee! But when he hits it, it's special. It's special, and it's good to hear him read it. And I had gotten to hear him read sections of it at Tampa,
Uh-huh.
and that helped. But yeah, it's real, but it says that's what makes it good.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm not arguing that at all. I mean, it's very good.
Yeah.
It's that good. It's like, I'm going to take my time reading this because it's a little immersive.
Yeah.
And well, you all know me. I mean, you know that I'm very much about images and writing that transcends the page. This is writing that transcends the page in a way that is shocking and brutal and daring and everything, all rolled into one.
Yeah.
Honestly, Peter, I had the same reaction. I think I got through 5 pages, and then when I went to try to go to sleep, I just had nightmares because it's so vivid. It's absolutely vivid. I'm sorry, Ben. What were you saying?
Well, we were gonna. He had asked, where could he advertise or market it, and I suggested doing an excerpt from it for the Wrath Bearing Tree online journal, and he asked me, well, what section do you think? Where do you think I should start? And I said, we've talked about it 1,000 times. Start with that hook. Start with the hook hanging from the ceiling, because that's the hook. And it will draw you in. It's a physical hook in the book, but it's also the hook that gets the readers in and says, this is what we're talking about. And the hook has a history, but a purpose. That's where I told him to start. And it's, and it probably adds to the story, knowing what the news had carried about that prison, where he's stationed. There's a concept of it off the news already, and now he's coming okay, you got the concept, you've got the vision, or you got the idea. Let me tell you the truth, and that makes it even more powerful, I think. It disrupts that hey, the 2 minutes on the nightly news. Oh, that was bad. No, it was bad, and I'm here to tell you why.
Wow.
I'm starting to read the first page. I'm like, wow, yeah, it's online. You know, just a sample. I haven't, and so yeah.
But he was. I think Tim would be. He would be glad to hear that your all's response.
Yeah.
Because
Oh yeah.
you get it. Yeah, he would know you get it, and that's what he wants you to do. He wants the reader to get it. And now just imagine yourself there.
Yeah. I just did.
No, thank you. I don't want to.
It's hard. Yeah.
For me, it was quite easy to imagine myself there. That's what terrified me. I mean, had absolutely no control, be put in those situations. Again, like, that's inhumane.
Yeah.
Now you'll love this so we were at we had a booth at the LA Times Festival of Books, and we had No Fucks Given like front and center. And I the number of teenagers and who were like on the whole other side of the festival and beelined over to check it out. Every single one of them, their moms went, put that back down. And it was hilarious because one of the authors who was sitting, or another small press that was right next to us, they were just admiring the number of people that were coming through and checking out our stories. And what the responses were to not only the covers, but also like how we would basically pitch the stories to people who were coming by, all that kind of thing. And they were like, man, is that even appropriate for teenagers? And I'm like, no, it's not. But we know who our audience is by default. Because they really made it clear that these kids were all over it. So wow. And it was funny too, because we actually had a few people come through as well for Scott Leva's memoir, I Was Spider-Man. Yeah. And that's another one. It was actually adult males who came through with like their wives or girlfriends, and the wife or girlfriend, but not both. Well, hopefully not. Well, they may have. Maybe. The number who actually, the wife or girlfriend didn't necessarily say no, but they gave them the look.
I bet there's a room filled with collectibles, like action figures and everything. And, because it's Spider-Man, it's pop culture. And so maybe it was like, there's enough of that. We have enough of that in the house, but I haven't read that one yet. And I want to, there's so many I want to read. I'm going to read a lot of these. Yeah. I need to go shopping.
The ones that, it was funny. The ones that I think got the most attention were really more so those two, but the ones that actually sold the most were Teehee's, Orbital Bebop, Cure, and Family Pack. Those, for some reason, when people saw them and you gave them the one-liner, they were like, "Oh, cool," and then they would actually pick it up. And the ones that people would beeline over to check out, but then for whatever reason, Cecilia, to your point, whether it's, I don't know if it's like a pop culture thing or what have you, they got the dirty look from whoever they were with. So it was like, okay, this is interesting. Like, yeah, let's see. Maybe they'll pick them up online because they won't have anyone there to give them the dirty look,
I think it'd make a perfect gift for this woman that I knew when I worked at Funko. her desk was absolutely filled with Spider-Man. Everything, every iteration of Spider-Man.
Oh,
Like, people
really?
would stack the Funko Pops up on their desks, and
Mhm.
how they sometimes they fell over and then they'd have to put them back up, but they would go sky high. She had Spider-Man all over her desk. So I'll have to pick that book up for her. She would love it. The Spider-Man one. She could put it on her desk at Funko.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Why? I'm sorry, my laptop is acting up. And it's so if I somehow drop, I apologize. It's not intentional. I'll come back. Let's see. This is weird. So yeah, but no, the festival, I found out it was the biggest book festival so far in the country. There were 170,000 attendees. So
Wow, that's a lot.
yeah, that's a lot. That is absolutely a lot. I apologize if I look distracted. I'm trying to find. I was also pinged to take book pitches as a part of an online conference for this weekend, and they're calling it like the 10-speed tune-up. So I'm trying to find the information so that I can put it in the chat in case anybody wants to check it out. But I'm not finding it so far, which is weird. So, and then I don't know, Cecilia, do you want to talk about the gentleman who was not really a gentleman?
Well, yeah. He's no longer an author with the Running
Of
Wild.
ours. Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, sometimes that happens. It's not wonderful. I don't love it, but there were several attempts to try to figure out, an issue that was repeating, and it either wasn't getting corrected, or the feedback or the response back was flippant, and one word. So I checked with Lisa. We checked over the manuscript and just decided that there were just too many other things that probably would take it beyond this author's vision in terms of revisions. And so I think we just needed to part ways. And sometimes that happens. At the end of the day, is a story a Running Wild Press story? And I wasn't really sure about that, and that it would be revised to, some of the things that we see. There's a lot of when we look at Running Wild Press stories that we've published in the past, they're robust characters, robust settings, and you can have something outside of that if there's a reason for it. And I wasn't clearly seeing the reason for it. So that's pretty much what it came down to.
And I have to say, I think Cecilia gave him multitude of opportunities to collaborate and like really work with us on like how can we work together to figure out what his vision is and make it work. And
the major things that I noticed were dismissed, and I was okay with that if other things worked, and they just weren't. So yeah. On the other hand, I have these other authors that I'm like, hey, we need to fix the world building in here. It doesn't change the structure of your story. It doesn't really change the outcome, but we do need to center it in something else than what it is. And you know what? They did it, and then they went beyond it. And that book is going to be, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And so, most of our authors are really, really lovely. No, we don't want to change their vision. And the structure and the story don't really change that much. It's just, you're adding layers. You're moving things around, and you're defining your purpose. And so authors who are doing that, their works do change, but the vision doesn't. So,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
Most of the
And we,
authors I worked with, they were very happy to have the edits because, and then, like you said, they go on and they use those ideas throughout the book, and the book turns out better.
Right.
They don't
Right.
just take the advice for that specific moment or that specific scene. It bleeds through the rest of the novel because now they have the perspective to lend to their other writing. That additional layer of knowledge, as it were, of just perspective will bleed throughout the book.
oh yeah, I mean it's interesting. We have a few interns right now, and one of whom I met with her earlier this week, and I had given her one of the draft manuscripts that we had accepted, and told her, you know, feel free. I'd love to hear what, if you were to work with this author, how would you work with her? And you know, it's interesting because in my opinion, you know, a truly excellent editor is someone who is looking at it and you're reading it to kind of to bring forward whatever that vision is that the author has for the work. And a truly excellent editor is going to look at the work and assess it in such a way to try and identify what are the different craft elements that can enrich it or can like really bring that vision forward. And a lot of times, you know, authors may not really know what the vision is until they actually sit down with the editor to talk through, you know, like, hey, this, I didn't understand this part. So I'm curious, like, why is it included, or, you know, why is it being done this way, or what have you? And, you know, the 9 times out of 10, the author is really they're really actively engaged, and they really want to have that conversation to understand, right, to help think through whatever it is that may actually enrich the story. So it's really unusual to find someone who, like Cecilia had shared with me his email, and I was like, wow, you're not a very nice person. Why are you being so condescending? Like, ew, not cool. But it is rare. That's not the norm at all.
No, I've edited so many books with Running Wild Press, and the people that I've worked with have been lovely. I mean, we've disagreed. You're going to disagree. It's okay. You know, there are authors who are like, hey, Cecilia, that wasn't my vision. And I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm beginning to see it. Maybe if we do this, you know, and then that's where it happens. But I just, yeah, this case was a little bit different. So
Yeah. But yeah. And we have the option to say, you know what, never mind. And the author has the option to say, you know what, never mind.
I don't think this author would have been happy with the outcome if I continued to ask for some more things. Even after getting through this round, I'm like, there are more things I need to ask for, and I just don't think I'm going to get them. So, and I don't, you know, at the end of the day, this author, you know, would probably want to keep everything intact the way it is, and may find somebody who can do that for them. But yeah, our mission and vision is just different.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, we self-publish.
Press.
And for anyone who wants to pitch a story, I believe these are all focused on full-length novels. You are more than welcome. I'll be taking pitches for the Women's National Book Association San Francisco chapter. I just put a link to their website in the chat. I believe I start taking pitches at like 8:45, something like that. But definitely come check it out. I would love to hear your stories. I'd love to hear your visions for what you're working on. So, on a more positive note.
Well, the positive note is all the other authors that I've worked with. I mean, the majority have been really good. So yeah, it happens. It just does. So yeah.
Yeah, that's true. It does. Again, it's not frequent at all.
No.
I mean, we've published 188 titles so far,
Yeah.
and we still have like, I think like 40 in the pipeline, something
Yeah.
like that. It's very rare that we encounter that. So, and again, if you're watching, feel free to go ahead, put any kind of questions or comments into the comment section of whatever venue you're watching this. Where we have this on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And then what we also do is we post the recordings on YouTube, on our YouTube channel, so that you can check it out, whenever you want. But yeah, definitely feel free. Go ahead, pop your question into the comment and section, and I'll repeat it, and then we'll take turns basically in reviewing them. So, and then we're also, I would love two things. One, guys, if you have any fundraising ideas, so it turns out we're in the red, not horribly in the red, but enough that I'm not happy due to printing costs. And so we're going to be looking for ways to raise funds to cover those expenses. So if you have any ideas for fundraising, please feel free, go ahead and reach out to me. I would love to hear your thoughts. And then we also, this is our 10th-year anniversary, and the official date when we became an LLC was actually June 30th of 2016. So I may be having hosting like a happy hour or something like that.
Ooh,
Okay, cool, awesome. I just need to find a venue to.
I thought it was going to be online. I was like, I'll join you online. Maybe we'll be there. Maybe we'll be there in that area. I don't know. That'd be fun too. Yeah.
Do you think we could do it online? I don't know.
Yeah, it's not as much fun though. It's more fun in person, probably.
Okay.
We could do one simultaneously, maybe one in person and one online. I don't know.
So Dr. Diane Schneider asks, what are essential elements of a good pitch that you look for? It's a great question. So a good pitch has a solid log line, which is basically 1 or 2 sentences that gives that hook for what the story's about. You also provide any kind of relevant background associated with it, such as, like, why did you write the story? Why is it important, right? And then if you have any intentions or plans related to promoting it, that kind of thing, that can also be helpful. And then honestly, some of the strongest pitches that I've heard, the author has actually taken the time to identify who what are similar titles, and you use that as part of your pitch. So like, I mean, honestly, when I pitch my own book series to readers, I mean, think of it from that perspective, right? Like I basically say, hey, this series is basically werewolves and shapeshifters meets historical fiction, and people go, ooh, right? So it's finding whatever that, X meets Y that will really gain those readers, and the publishing houses gain their attention. Also, keep in mind, if you've actually read books within that publishing house's catalog, and you know that what you've done is similar in some capacity, or you're an admirer of some of the titles, it is actually, I think it's smart to mention it, because so many times people will submit a title and they actually don't know anything about the publishing house, about the types of stories that are published by the house. They're not familiar at all. And it's very obvious when you actually read their book proposal. So having that reference point that demonstrates that you've done your homework and you know that what you're writing is aligned to the publishing house is actually it's very helpful, I think. How about you guys? What do you look for when you get pitches?
I look at the writing. I mean, I go straight to the story. I just that's what's most important to me. Does the writing engage me? Does it grab me? Does it have that hook right from the beginning? And can it carry it through the rest of the story? I'll glance at the log line, and I remember when I was submitting stories way back when, is I put a lot of effort and energy into it. But what I didn't realize is that the writing had to speak for itself, much more so than the log line of the pitch. Not to put down the pitch, it's just that when I'm looking at something, I'm looking at what the results are, not the presentation. Does that make sense?
It does, but that wasn't the question. The question is, like, if you're taking a live pitch, what do you look for? Because I agree with you. Nothing beats actually sitting down and reading the actual writing. But what if you're taking a live pitch?
A live pitch. I didn't catch that part. Well, does it have that hook? Does it have something that makes you want to learn more? Does it make you want to just say, okay, fine, let me read this. Let me see what it looks like.
Mhm.
Is it engaging? Is it gripping? Is it something that matters?
Is it an unusual concept? Like something I haven't really heard before?
That's
Or maybe a
good.
twist on something that is out there, but I've not seen that twist before. So yeah.
And I think that's where the comp titles sometimes work against a good pitch, because it's I'm thinking of Triggerfish in the Recon trilogy, that it's a cross between Apocalypse Now and Alice in Wonderland.
Mhm.
And well, wait a minute, how do you fit those two together? But if it's I'm going to go back to character, and if it's got interesting characters, and say it's a group of doctors in 1982 internships in Atlanta, that sounds interesting, Dr. Diane. Maybe that's what we want to edit and talk about. And so it's that hook is the characters and the time and the place for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Barbara, how about you? What do you look for?
I don't really read a lot of pitches because, but actually Apocalypse and Alice in Wonderland sounds pretty interesting to me. Yeah, I could want to know more about that.
Yeah, I agreed. I had a similar response, a similar reaction. So,
I mean,
but yeah,
too, you've got to be very creative.
now I mean, honestly, I think back to Peter's point. I mean, I do take live pitches, but a lot of times I'm if it's something that sounds relatively interesting, I always point them to submit their manuscript to us through our submittable page, because I want to see it.
Yeah.
I need to read it. If I don't read it, if I don't see it, then some people can some people can talk a good game, and the writing just needs way too much work, and other people are the reverse, right? They're horrid at pitching, doing a live pitch, but The writing itself is actually,
Good.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just figuring that out,
And
if that
it's
makes sense.
the comp title runs into trouble then when it's if it's the written and I don't see the excitement from the author in the live pitch. If it's just the written, it says this is a cross between Catcher in the Rye and To Kill a Mockingbird, and you can already project. It may sound good to say it, but there's a piece of you that that's going to be disappointing because it's not going to be that.
Yeah.
And you second guess and say you didn't do that, or why would you do that? Why would you feel the need to do that? And so I think there's a time when the pitch can initiate a feeling of disappointment and doubt. I guess doubt's a better word. But because I doubt it now and I don't want it because I don't want to be disappointed.
Well, you're setting the bar too high. Is that what you mean?
Yeah. And some things have been done, and trying to tap into what's been done too much it's just an overreach.
Well, that's true. And we have had times when we've gotten a lot of like memoirs that it's obvious, it's a memoir that's been done, and it's been done a lot.
Yeah.
So it becomes of these like 300 titles that we think are pretty solid, and we would absolutely consider picking them up. What ones are solid, and there's something different about what they're bringing forward about that narrative. And if it doesn't really have that, then honestly, that'll cause us to say, you know what, nah, this isn't right for us. Like it's been done. Yeah.
There was some feedback I got once from a journal. They told me that it was a military journal, and they said, well, we really like your work because it's different. We get so many stories about the Army vehicle going down the road and a IED hits, explodes, and we get so many of those. And so your work was different. So yeah, I was in the Coast Guard. We didn't have Humvees. We didn't have IED threats. But it was a good point that I took away from that discussion. If you're reading a lot of it, don't write a lot of it. Write something else or put a different spin on it.
Yeah.
And of course, you don't. If it's your story and you want to tell your story, just make sure you're telling it in a way that doesn't sound like somebody else's story.
I find a lot of the authors that I have been editing lately, that their stories are very close to their own lives. I mean, they draw from their own life to do it. So it really gives you an idea of what that environment is like. It's not necessarily a story about them, but the people that they know. Right now, I just finished one about the academic universe, and I had no idea that there was that much conflict behind the scenes at university.
No, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of we'll say catty. Catty, and to put it politely.
My mom was a university professor, and
there's a lot of, or there can be. Yeah.
Yeah. I attended the university where my mother taught, so I knew all the gossip of all the professors that I was going to take classes from. I knew all the stuff. But yeah, it's a whole it's a whole sitcom, university life, and all the stuff. Yeah.
But basically, you were able to blackmail your way through college.
Huh? I was able to blackmail. No, I didn't say. No, I knew better than to say anything. I didn't say anything. I kind of sat in the back of the class and didn't talk much. But yeah, I didn't want to get my mom in trouble. I mean, one of her benefits was free tuition for the kids. I'm like, I'm not blowing that. I'm not going to compromise that at all. no, I got good grades. I mean, I knew that my mom worked hard, and so the way that I could pay her was, to do the best that I could in class and not embarrass her, not do anything to embarrass her on campus.
Yeah.
No, you're on the cusp of A and A plus. You're like, look, professor. I was funny yesterday."
Right. I know it happened.
I'm actually go ahead.
Knowing that and going into a book, it's well, it's like Pocket Full of Teeth. Pocket Full of Teeth had that in the background, and it mentioned it, and there was tension there, but it wasn't what the book was about. It just used that tension to tell the story.
Mhm.
And I'll go back to Diane's question, and we can watch enough doctor shows to have a sense of what we're told. But so when a memoir comes out about interns in a hospital working towards the hours and the the personalities that they have to put up with and the diseases, so it's got to be different. It's got to be some different angle, and that's where Diane had the different angle. It was a very personal story, no doubt. It was a memoir, but it was the events were different. And the reaction to the events were real.
Mm.
So I think that's it goes back to that good pitch. Hey, this is real. You want the truth. Here it is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
that takes me back to the conversation with the NFG and the teenagers being told to put it down.
Yeah.
And Tim was maybe 21 when he was there.
Right.
He was a teenager, basically.
Yeah.
And that's who we've got doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't want to read the book about it, then don't volunteer
Yeah.
or don't encourage
Right.
volunteering.
Yeah.
And it's a chance to know what you're thanking somebody when you say thank you for your service. You read that book, you know what you're thanking them for, and it's an eye opener. But I digress. Sorry.
No. I mean, it was really interesting to see what books got the most attention
Mhm.
and what ones actually sold the most. And there's also like an entire aisle that was just horror organizations and horror publishers, and another aisle that was all like science fiction. And some of our authors were also at some of the booths in those spaces, and they said everything was selling like hotcakes because since it was advertised that this is all romance writers, this is all or romance books, and this is all horror books, this is that those genres have such strong following that by having areas dedicated to those genres, it enabled those readers to like immediately know exactly where to go to. And that was the other thing that I noticed, was that there were quite a few instances where it was clear that people were clearly signed up. They were like, I am going here, and they were just beelining exactly, like going a straight shot for where wherever it was they were that they were the most into. But that's also because there were so many celebrities that go to that speak at the LA Times Festival of Books. Oftentimes, again, they just put out a memoir or something like that. I think Elvira was there. Lionel Richie was there. I mean,
really?
a really varied.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
I get
And
those two mixed up.
Yeah, every day, right?
I know
could you
we never
not?
imagined them in the same room together, but there they are.
They're
It's a dream come true.
well, it's so funny because the festival itself is free, but you pay for the panels. Like you pay to attend the panels, or pay to attend, when they're speakers.
Yeah.
And my understanding is I think Lionel Richie sold out in the half hour.
Wow. Hello.
Yeah.
That's the first thing I would have said. I'm sure everybody says that to him.
I'm sure, right? I'm sure he's over it as well. But yeah, I mean, it actually was similar at the Tucson Festival of Books. That's another one that's free, except for some panels. And I think you get like specialty tickets if you want to like get in earlier, or you want to, you know, focus on specific types of panels, or like that kind of thing. And I mean, I didn't go to anything. I stayed in our booth, but it was really interesting to see where people were when we were getting the most foot traffic, if that makes sense. So I know, Cecilia, you mentioned earlier that you haven't been to a conference in a long time.
No.
How about
I feel
how
like
about
it's
you guys?
confession. Like, it's been so many years since I've been to a conference. Please forgive me. But no, yeah, it's been a while.
Well, I was going to ask, like, guys, what's the last conference you've been to, and what brought you there? What made you say, I gotta check this out? And what was your favorite conference of all time? No? I love Ben's like, no.
I'll tell you my favorite conference of all time. I got asked to go to like Key West with McGraw-Hill
Oh,
when I
wow.
was teaching, and they threw this whole conference, and oh my goodness, it got weird because they wined and dined us, and people imbibed, and one of the conference attendees had brought her husband, and she had way too much to drink, and she was just like shouting answers out and saying nonsense.
Oh.
And they went to her husband to tell on her. They had to tell on her. But yeah, it was a good conference, and that, you got to see what materials they were producing. But it was like, it was a really good food too. I mean, they treated us to all kinds of really great food, but it was a lot of fun. It only happens once in a lifetime. So if you ever get to go to a McGraw-Hill conference, it's something.
Cool.
It's
Peter,
something
how
great.
about you?
Well, I was at AWP a couple weeks ago.
Oh, that's
and
true.
I had my banner, and I scoped. I knew it was going to happen. I mean, I borrowed a booth with Lisa for a little while, and got some grief from some other people. So I'm like, I think I can find an open booth. There's got to be one empty booth that somebody paid for and couldn't attend. I found one. So I set up shop. I talked with a couple passersby, told them about the press, and it was a great experience. I mean, I just packed up at the end of the day, walked back to my hotel room. Next day, showed up, it was still empty, so I set up shop.
Cool.
So an actual attendee without having to fork out all that money.
Nice.
Yeah.
My favorite was also AWP. Is when I first started learning the craft in the University of Chicago Graham School. AWP was in Chicago that year, and I had written my way into the program. I'd never had any formal training with writing fiction, but I go to the conference, and the program that I was in didn't have ID cards. And so if you want the student rate, which was $40 back then, as opposed to the non-student rate, which was like $200, you have to show your ID card. And I went back and forth with the young woman behind the counter going, I don't have an ID card, but I'm going to school. We went back and forth about 20 minutes for she was fine, screw it. Go. Then give me your $40, just go. Leave me alone, get out of my way. And I had the best time of my life there. Attending lectures, seeing the booths. I mean, it was like walking through Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. It was just fantastic. The world I never knew existed, and happy to be introduced to.
How about you, Barbara?
I have to say the conference at Penn Writers that Joyce Carol Oates was there. It was
wow.
She was so interesting, and I said to her, "Your writing was so bad," and she's like,
She was lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. She was lovely.
Life has tragic moments, but life is wonderful. She felt it's tragic. And her writing is just so amazing.
So Ben, still no.
But I can talk about McGraw Hill.
It's a
But,
time.
yeah, they invited us to New Orleans, and but if we as instructors had gone, it would have been a conflict of interest to set and select a textbook for the next 3 years. You couldn't sit on a committee to get a textbook for 3 years. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Because they do treat you so well.
Right, they do. Yeah. So, yeah, it was mostly a discussion by that point. So you just are discussing it, and you get to see all of it, but it wasn't a pressure to adopt. So, yeah, we didn't adopt.
I know from a
of New Orleans, and it wasn't necessarily a conference. It was I lived across St. Charles Avenue, across from a library. And once a year, they had friends of the library sale, and so you could go over and look at the books that they were discarding or they had, and it was a good experience. Just walk across the street and see other book lovers walk around the yard. So it wasn't a convention. It was more of a neighborhood convention.
Got it. Okay. Well, I think the best from a craft perspective that I've attended was as an attendee was Yale Writers Conference and Breadloaf Writers Conference. The instructors were just absolutely phenomenal, and Breadloaf, I'd say, was much more craft focused back then, which was a long time ago. And Yale was heavy in craft, but also had focuses on more of the business side of writing, which I think is absolutely invaluable to learn. Like, how do you do a pitch, right? How do you do a proposal? How do you identify what publishers you should actually, pitch to? But as an instructor, I'd say Superstars of Writing as an instructor was one of the best ones, because they do have much more of a balance of craft and actual business side of writing, which is sometimes can be difficult to find in for different, specifically writer festivals, or writer conferences, if that makes sense. So, and you guys, like, how did you guys each learn more of the business side of writing, out of curiosity?
Rejection.
Well, that's fair.
It was, you learn that the business side is very subjective, and there's a lot of subjectivity in it with and that comes from the rejections. So some publishers will even tell you, this is a subjective opinion. We're very subjective, and it just doesn't fit our catalog at this time. And so, okay, so there's a catalog, there's subjectivity this time, and that nothing in there says give up. But it does give you indications of the business side of they are making decisions based on what they're looking for. And it's not always what I have, and that's okay. And so I think that's a quick glimpse into that business world of business decisions. And then you find out that the publishers say no thank you to poetry anyway. And that's a business decision. I don't blame them. Nobody reads that stuff anyway.
Well, that's what's so interesting to me, is that it's poetry that has more of a narrative to it, or it's becoming more and more popular.
Yeah.
And it's getting picked up a lot more frequently than it has in the past. So, It is a hard sell if you position it as poetry, which I know that sounds weird, but
Mhm.
it is definitely coming out a lot more frequently.
Yeah, well, I think there's a stretch there for about 20 years where poetry was esoteric in nature, and
Mm.
and people just didn't get it and say, well, I can read it 3 times. I still don't, what's the point? And once you have the reader saying, what's the point? The publishers are quick to follow. Say, yeah, what's the point?
Well, that's true.
But I think if it tells a story and has a point, it's got a better chance.
Hmm.
'Cause I like the poems that stand in front of the tanks.
There you go.
Yeah. And we probably talked about it before, but Günter Grass wrote a poem about Israel,
Hmm.
and the name of it was "This Too Must Be Said," and it was very honest about the politics of course, he's a German in Israel, but they made him a persona non grata,
Hmm.
and that's the power of poetry. If you can write a poem and get denied entry into a country, it's got to be good. It's got to be something behind it to make that decision.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. And guys who are watching, we only have like 4 more minutes. So again, if you have any questions, go ahead, toss them into the comment section of whatever venue you're watching, and we will take that opportunity to address them. So awesome. I feel like I'm still constantly learning the business side of the industry because it's just keeps changing so dramatically every year. So like all the rules keep changing. So which I find interesting, especially when you talk to people who've been in the industry, like maybe they worked for like a major publisher for like 10, 15 years or something like that. You know, in their heads, things still work the way they used to work 20 years ago. And I'm like, oh, that's so not true. Like, you know, the Baker and Taylors that closed shop, right? Like so many, the way things had been for, gosh, 20, 30, 40 years, like it just all of a sudden blew up with not only the creation of like ebooks, but with the ease that you can potentially publish stories, but that also because of that ease, you know, that means Joe Schmo, who basically just wants to publish something that his kid wrote created the cartoons for it, and so he self-publishes it, which is fine. That's great. But believe it or not, like even at the LA Times Festival of Books, a gentleman came by. His kid had created the narration for it, and he wrote the narrative for a children's book. But he had already gotten it copywritten. He had already, it was a hardback book. And I said, "Oh, it's lovely, but you do understand, like, no one's going to pick this up. It's already copywritten, right? So you've basically ensured that no one is going to pick this up." And he was like, "Wait, what? No, I copywrote it because I wanted it to get picked up." I'm like, "Yeah, that's not how this works." And I had to go through and explain, like more again of the business side of things and what his approach he may want to have his approach be in the future to get that kind of attention. So yeah, we had a couple of
poor guy.
we had a couple of people who approached us during who had basically self-published their work and said, "I would be thrilled if you publish this for me, and you don't have to edit it or anything." I'm like, "Yeah, no, that's not how."
That's not how we roll.
So, wow, honestly, we had fantastic conversation tonight. Thank you guys all for joining and you know being a part of this. And with that, we will see you same bat time, same bat channel, Thursday, 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Eastern time next week. And with that, thanks. See you then.